Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
I want to go to breaking news right now. LAPD in pursuit of a stolen car. Let's go up to Desmond Shaw, live in SkyCal. Going pretty fast there, Des.
Yeah, so Juan, we believe it is this vehicle right here, this older gray Honda Accord. You see the spotlight there from LAPD overhead, this allegedly stolen vehicle. LAPD wanted to get all their ducks in a row before they tried to pull this car over, because this is just happening so often now with these stolen cars that they take off, and indeed that is exactly what happened. But they had the helicopter overhead here pretty quickly. So they have been with this one for a bit now. We understand that the
police officers, once they know it's not only one person but two people they're dealing with?
Right. They're going to be aware of that, and they're going to make sure that they have enough officers.
What was that, Des?
Really close.
Just really, really close with that little BMW i3 right there. Might have even tapped the paint there of the other car. That was incredibly close. This person driving this car like he's driving a Ferrari, but really he's just driving an older Honda Accord. Definitely not a capable car for this type of driving. Just a little four-cylinder engine, front-wheel drive. But the way driving it here, very, very erratically. Very lucky they haven't lost control so far. But Mike, go ahead. You can finish your point there.
Yeah, no, they'll be more aware. You know, they had a bunch of officers in place to try to be able to make this. You know, when we really see them start to kind of think about how many people they need in a chase, it's usually when there's kind of 3 or 4 people in the car. Generally, with 2 people, you still have enough officers. But, I mean, we're going fast, over 100 miles an hour. I do hear CHP trying to get in place now to take it over as we're coming back down southbound on the 405, listening to this on the CHP's Teal radio. LAPD is now completely getting out of this. They don't want to be involved in this anymore. So the airship is over it now, trying to coordinate with CHP to get those CHP officers in place. And we've been listening to the airship on the CHP's frequency. So hopefully we'll see those CHP officers kind of get in place now. But yeah, I'm not surprised that LAPD backed out. You got just a stolen vehicle, and it doesn't sound like it was you know, anything kind of witnessed or a carjacking or anything like that. It just sounds like they ran a plate, it came back stolen, tried to stop the guy, and it didn't work. So it doesn't surprise me that with the high speeds and it being on the freeway that LAPD backed out. But hopefully CHP officers are getting in place now, Juan. Yeah,
you know, Mike, when Desmond mentioned that this is a Honda Accord, I quickly remembered, and I looked to confirm it here. It looks like the past 10 years, the Honda Accord is the most stolen car of the past decade. So we're looking at it right here, and despite it being an economy car, a fuel-efficient car, and as Desmond was saying, not one for high speeds or quick movements, we're seeing it here, and we did see at least one crash, right? He crashed into one car, 2 cars?
We heard at the 405 in Roscoe several cars, actually. But, you know, the interesting thing is the damage doesn't totally support that, so it makes me wonder how severe the crashes were. But even when, you know, Des pointed out that he got really close to that BMW, maybe swapped a little paint there, so it could have been something like that. But yeah, I was going to mention that too, Juan. These types of cars are very commonly stolen, so we'll have to see, you know, what LAPD or what CHP rather is going to do. There's that video replaying on your right-hand side of the screen. Really close call there.
That was a very close call. If you're joining us here, Desmond, go ahead.
No, yeah, we're just getting off the freeway here at Nordhoff, so coming down into the North Hills and Northridge area. So making a right turn here down onto busy Nordhoff Street, headed towards Cal State Northridge, my alma mater. So now we're getting the best look we've had at this vehicle with the dark tints. And this is an older Honda Accord, by the way. This looks to be like a late 90s, maybe early 2000s version right here. So, you know, this is now, look, we're going freeway speeds on surface streets. This is where it really gets nerve-wracking. It's one thing to be going 70, 80, 90 on the freeway, but when you're going this fast on these streets out here, you know, where you might have people out here walking around or people just pulling out in the intersection, not expecting someone to be going 70 miles an hour through here, that is when this gets especially nerve-wracking. So we'll see where the suspect is headed, blasting right through the intersection there to get ahead of the traffic. Very, very desperate driving. Mike, I thought I had heard that CHP just said that they were backing out of this. Did you hear that on the radio?
I was just going to mention that. CHP's Newhall office said they were 22ing. We are kind of in the West Valley office of the CHP, but since CHP never actually got involved in this, I would be kind of surprised to see them get involved on surface streets. That's generally their kind of rule. If they're not in it already and it's not on the freeway, they generally don't like to get involved. And now we're moving westbound, right, Des? So we are not coming back towards a freeway for a while.
That's right. Yeah. In fact, this won't lead us to any other freeways unless he decides to turn north towards the 118 or south towards the 405. This is just going to go clear across the San Fernando Valley towards Chatsworth. And another factor here with the age of this car, just cars from the late 90s, early 2000s don't have the same kind of safety features that modern cars have. And the way this guy's driving this, if someone in a big SUV, which is just so common these days, pulls out, doesn't see this person, and this suspect hits them, it's going to end very badly for this driver. Now, suddenly turning back around, flipping a U-turn here, right in the middle of the intersection near Aldi as we were getting closer to Cal State Northridge, kind of in the Sherwood Forest neighborhood now of Northridge, North Hills. Now we are headed back to the freeway. So just as I said that, now suddenly we are headed back towards the 405. So what is the strategy here? I don't know if he didn't like what he saw up ahead or what. There's no heavy traffic or anything out here. They just decided to flip around here. And we do have two people in the car, so you really wonder what kind of conversation is going on in there. Is the other person involved? Are they even privy to any of this? Were they just out with this person? This was their friend, and all of a sudden they got lit up, and this guy's running from the cops? It's impossible to say, or are they complicit in all of this? But again, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour here on Nordhoff. Back towards the 405. We'll see what their next move is. Yeah,
and weaving in and out of traffic. And even though, Mike, the CHP pulled away, we still see that night sun. Who does that airship belong to then?
That is still the LAPD's helicopter. They are still the ones that are lighting this up. And as we're coming back towards the freeway, if he gets back on the freeway, we've got a better chance of CHP getting involved. And it's interesting, I'm actually listening to what is starting to be a second pursuit down in the South LA area. So CHP is also being asked by the Sheriff's Department to take over a pursuit down there. Obviously, these are different offices, different officers.
Do we know what that want is?
No, we're listening to that right now. But we're not pulling one from this one to go to that one. So we're not in that kind of situation. But just the kind of dynamics of what happens here in the LA area as they're dealing with two of these. So sorry, just listening to that one as well. So as we come back on the close to the 405 here.
Well, it's interesting. He just used the left turn blinker again to change lanes. So some very interesting driving here. Rates of, as Desmond was saying, freeway speeds on surface streets heading back towards the freeway here, covering quite a bit of ground, making a very strange right-hand turn there, Desmond. Did he hit the curb?
It was pretty close. And again, that's just, what happens when you drive a car like this that isn't, it isn't meant for this. The tire is very important too. I can't imagine that this tire is equipped, or that this car is equipped with sport tires. Usually you have, economy or all-season tires on an economy car. So that's another important factor here. But a couple of times now where the suspect has nearly lost control. And just as we were about to hit the 405, they decided to go southbound on Haskell, the last major street just to the west there that parallels the 405. So on the border of Northridge and North Hills, headed towards Van Nuys, not too far away from where we were first hearing some of the surface streets being called out on this one. I'm kind of surprised to see the LAPD spotlight still on this one, because I thought that when they go into tracking mode, a lot of times that they would turn the spotlight off, but maybe there was a change of protocol, or if they're just so worried about losing this car because they are driving so fast. But then you have to wonder if the spotlight is also has any factor in this panic driving as well. So now we're out on Roscoe, another major street here, not too far away from Van Nuys Airport, but now we are headed back west again towards Northridge.
And what's interesting, Mike, no real pattern here, right? We've seen him on the 14, the 5, the 405, surface streets. Now he's in North Hills, still on surface streets, right?
Yeah, and that's what CHP is talking about. CHP is well aware of where this guy is, but not. Not really wanting to get involved unless he gets back onto the freeway. And I do want to comment on what Des was saying about the night sun. It is blacked out now. That's dangerous. It is LAPD's policy that if they are in tracking mode, the night sun is to come off. So this is
he turned the lights off, right?
Yeah, but this is unusual for LAPD's airship to still have their night sun on when they're in tracking mode, because that is not generally what their policy is. The Sheriff's Department is different. The Sheriff's Department does leave their night sun on. LAPD turns theirs off during a tracking mode.
But did he just turn on? I think he just turned his headlights back on.
Yeah, his headlights are on and off, which is, of course, when you're driving at these speeds and you don't have headlights on, that makes everything just so much more dangerous.
Yep. And again, nope. Look, another very close swipe there with that car that he just passed on after this right-hand turn. Again, really no pattern here. We've got the driver, 2 people inside a car here that we believe a Honda Accord, a stolen car pursuit. Do we know where the call first came out or where the car might have been stolen from?
So I believe these were either North Hollywood units or Van Nuys units that spotted it. We don't have any details on where or when the car was stolen. It was one of those situations where it sounds like they ran the license plate and the license plate dinged for them and popped back stolen. So they got into that, what we call the following, where they get 3 or 4 units kind of all together, get the helicopter overhead before they even try to pull the car over as we go into the freeway here.
Yeah. There it is.
And then when they did try to pull him over, that's when he took off, and then that's when the pursuit was initiated. And then, of course, we went northbound 405, northbound 5, northbound 14, and then flipped back around. And then as we were coming back south on the 5 and the 405 is when LAPD canceled their involvement in it. They were trying to get CHP to take over. Hard turn there. But CHP doesn't want it until it gets back on the freeway.
So are they still following from the airship, or are there cars, police cars following as well?
I don't believe there are patrol cars behind it. Des, I don't know if you can see that from your vantage point.
No, I'll just widen out a little bit while we have a chance here. And no, there you see the very diligent LAPD airship in this, but they're the only ones keeping tabs on this. No one on the ground anywhere within within distance that I can see. Now into a parking lot here.
Gas station.
Into a gas station if he's just trying to avoid the light there. But, oh, boy, turning right into oncoming traffic. And there was a big SUV right there, and that's what I was talking about. You got this, little old Honda Accord right up against an SUV there that could have gotten bad really fast. So now we're back out onto Roscoe, east of the 405, now getting into Panorama City. So this will take us over towards the 170 if they're headed for another freeway. But definitely doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. I mean, we're going westbound, then just flipped around and going eastbound, and then north and south. Now we're back east. This is the second time we're out on Roscoe. So always wondering what's going on, if they have 2 people in there, if they're trying to put their heads together to formulate some kind of a plan or what. It's not clear, but they are hitting a little bit of heavier traffic here. And I can tell you firsthand that the lights here on Roscoe, when you drive on, are they
behind the
still?
building,
I believe they're still going here, just behind the apartment building here. Yep, here we go. So southbound on Willis Avenue, headed back towards Parthenia. And just now we're getting into a neighborhood. I think this is the first time we've been into a residential neighborhood. So let's see if this is the idea, if they think that they can ditch the helicopter at some point. I mean, if they get out and run, there's no units here to stop and pull anybody over. I mean, there may be some nearby that we haven't seen, but we've also got the headlights back off again. Very dangerous at 45 miles an hour on some narrow residential streets.
And no ground units either. No chance for spike strips, right? Because this would be a great opportunity if they're staying on surface streets to use spike strips, but there are no ground units in pursuit.
It's spikes or a pit, I mean, at these low speeds.
Or
and
both,
Des, we also lost the light from the LAPD ship, right? I don't see that on anymore either.
No, yeah, it looks like it. So we'll see here if they're going to keep it off, maybe to try to get this person to cool off a little bit, and then, but just kind of, linger in the area, and then if they do get out and run, then they can, light them back up. So let's see now as we get out onto Van Nuys Boulevard. Still pretty busy this time of the evening. Coming down, Van Nuys Boulevard and Roscoe.
Ooh.
Whoa, just cutting that person off right there. So rude for absolutely no reason. I mean, what was the point of this? Now, there was absolutely no motivation for that. So this is just the really erratic driving that we're talking about. And just kind of getting a decent look at the driver here. Pretty casual. Pretty casual demeanor there from what we could see there in that brief moment. As we come back up to Van Nuys and Roscoe.
Ooh, pedestrian.
Pedestrian there. Who had no clue of anything that was going on. So I believe we just made a turn here onto Chase. Yep. Yeah. That's right. Lenox Avenue. Okay. So, Roscoe and Lenox. We are headed eastbound. So, Panorama City headed towards Arleta and the 170 freeway with no lights on.
All right, Desmond Shaw, this is Pat Harvey with Chauncey Glover. We are beginning KCAL News at 10 o'clock, and we are in the middle of watching this stolen car pursuit that began, I believe, in the Van Nuys area, on several freeways, and now in a neighborhood in Panorama City, driving very recklessly at times. And from what we understand, this vehicle, actually this Honda, crashed into multiple cars, and it's still going. And from what we understand, Desmond and Mike Rogers at the desk, we have 2 people in this vehicle, right?
Yeah, that's right, Pat. And the 2 people.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Des.
No, yes, 2 people in the vehicle on this one, an allegedly stolen vehicle pursuit, and we had at least some paint traded, maybe have just been a fender bender as they were getting on the northbound 405 on this one. So we went north 405, north 5, north 14, then the first ramp at Newhall Avenue, they reversed course, came back south into the valley, then zigging and zagging around North Ridge, North Hills, Panorama City, and now we're still kind of in the Panorama City area here. But really wondering now that you notice that the spotlight came back on, and I'm wondering if LAPD is thinking that they may be getting ready for a to get out and run from the vehicle here, and if that's why they have the light on. But well, now the light goes back off again. But we've been in and out of neighborhoods for a little bit now. Makes me think that they may be thinking about getting out and using their feet to evade officers. We'll wait and see what happens here in the next couple of moments.
And you know what, we've talked about this before, Desmond, when you don't see vehicles on the ground behind them, this gives the driver more reason to think that they can bail and get out and run and possibly evade police officers. That usually does not work out, because even though they're not behind them, we know they have eyes in the air, and they're probably watching us and listening to your reports.
Something out the window.
So they know where they are. What'd you say, Mike?
They're throwing stuff out the passenger side window there.
Yeah, but don't they have their lights off? Well, yeah, they do. It's very dark. But they have been in this particular area for a little while now, right?
Yes. And we're coming back out here on, okay, Osborne and Ranchito. So coming back out into, I think, the commercial area here of Panorama City. And yeah, it was pretty dark and happened kind of quickly, but it did look like maybe they might have thrown something out the window as they were in that darkness there. So, but you know, with no units behind them and with LAPD not even having their nights on, I'm not even sure if they saw that. They may not even be able to guide any units into where that happened, and it happened so quickly. So at the moment, you know, again, no ground units, not even a spotlight. And look, this person's still driving back here, 65 miles an hour. Give me a break on this little street, and then you even have your lights on and off. It's just totally ridiculous. Wrong side of the road there as well. But Osborne Street, where are they headed now as they come back out onto Van Nuys Boulevard for a northbound turn?
And Mike, this got very dangerous at one point, but LAPD deciding also to stand down, and now we see CHP not even behind this guy.
Yeah, so LAPD was pretty in it until he got into a crash getting on the 405 at the Roscoe area, tapped a couple other cars and kept going as we kind of pull into this parking lot. This is the second time he's gone into a parking lot and back out. Wrong side of the road there. Oy.
Back out.
But yeah, I mean, LAPD officially canceled it once he was coming back down. You look on the right side of your screen there, that's when he got really close to that one car and tapped it there. We've also seen these maneuvers where he kind of blows through these intersections, cutting other cars off, these wild U-turns that he's made. There's a couple of those that he's done as well. And it's this kind of driving that made LAPD kind of back off of it, especially on the freeway. He was going over 100 miles an hour at times.
In a Honda.
Yeah, in a Honda, which, by the way, as we pointed out, is one of the most stolen vehicles out there. So not surprising that this is the one being chased. Now we got the spotlight back on from LAPD.
Yeah. Okay, but we still don't have any ground units behind the vehicle, right?
No, yeah, LAPD wanted to discontinue their involvement in this in the hopes that CHP would pick it up, and CHP was so close to getting it, and then he got off the freeway. And then once he gets off the freeway, if CHP is not already involved, they don't want to get involved until it gets back on the freeway, and this person has not done that yet.
And he's staying in the North Hills, Panorama City. At first we thought, well, there's no rhyme or reason to what this guy was doing when he was on several freeways. But now that he's been on surface streets, he's remained in this area. He's not attempted to get back on the freeway. I almost thought he was slowing down there. But does make you wonder, again, even though he doesn't have units behind him, that they have an idea where this guy is.
Yeah, and you know, Desmond had a good point earlier. We were in a neighborhood, lights were off. It looked like he was probably going to try to bail. And now lights are back on. We're kind of out of that residential neighborhood. So maybe they figured out, like, ooh, up on the curb there.
Up on the curb. Jeez. Yeah, he's going to get a flat tire here. And in fact, I'm looking at this. Yeah, this wheel, boy, I mean, the way that this guy's driving, just all over the place and then hitting curbs like that. I mean, they're lucky to even have their tires intact. although that tire looks a little bit kind of weird on the front driver's side. So back out onto Parthenia, but again, just driving this kind of car like this, I just wonder how much more this poor old Accord can take. Normally, such an incredibly reliable vehicle. You can get 500,000 miles out of this car if you're not driving it like this. But when you do, totally different story. As the lights get turned back off again, and we're just eastbound on Parthenia with just kind of the randomness continuing.
And Desmond, at one point when the driver took a turn in a neighborhood, didn't we see him throwing stuff out of the car?
It was so fast. Mike, I look like Mike is. I got to tell you, Mike's really got an eagle eye for that kind of stuff. Yeah. And after he said it, I think I did see something really quickly, but it was so fast and in kind of under the cover of darkness there. Whatever it was, we will probably never know because there's no units behind, and LAPD did not have their spotlight on at that moment. So they may not have even been aware that that happened. The flight officer could radio down to ground units to go investigate what that was, but unless they saw that in that split second, then whatever that was is still sitting out there in the middle of the street at whatever residential intersection that was, where they might have thrown something out.
You would think, and now with speeds as low as they are now, in terms of a spike strip or a pit maneuver, that certainly would be possible. We haven't heard any reports, have we, guys, that this person could possibly be armed? So that wouldn't necessarily prevent them from doing a pit maneuver on this, driver, thinking about their own safety.
Yeah, Pat, the radio traffic on this was kind of limited to begin with. I don't think that LAPD really has a ton of information on the suspects or the theft of the vehicle, because when it came out, again, it was just they ran the plate came back stolen, as we're now stopping at intersections, which is the first time, but they ran the plate, came back stolen, tried to pull him over, and he didn't stop. So this was not one of those situations where it was a witness theft or we have a lot of details about the exact time the car was stolen and things like that.
Uh-oh, now we see that car stopping there. This is the first time we've actually seen them stop. Now, getting back onto the, I don't know, is it the freeway?
Almost looked like he just made a turn.
He made a U-turn. And Mike, earlier, I know at one point you mentioned a possible second chase.
Yeah, that one is over. That was unrelated to this. That was the sheriff's department was chasing a different stolen car on a different freeway. CHP took that one over. That one just ended on the 105. So we're back to only having this one.
Okay, there's
here.
Is this going to be it? So Willis and
Roscoe
walking down. LAPD letting them know.
Pedestrian.
Hey there, we're still here, but.
So that's it. Yeah, that's the LAPD's night sun.
Yeah. And a hand out the window for a second there.
Well, yeah, it looked like he was kind of motioning to that person, or I don't know, maybe there was a buddy who lived there that he wanted to wave to, and some of these people, you hate to say it, but they just get out here and they treat this like a joyride. And then when they don't have LAPD on the ground pursuing them, they feel like they can just kind of get out here and get away with it, with this kind of stuff. I mean, some of these we've seen just turn into full-blown spectacles with the suspects, frankly, looking like they're enjoying themselves. And now it just the way that we're just kind of randomly driving around here, starting to wonder if that's the MO, just going to drag this out as long as possible. I mean, what else is the end game here? It seems like there's been a lot of opportunities to get out and run under the darkness without any ground units and with the spotlight that's been on and off, but that has not transpired, as we are still on a tiny, very poorly lit street here in Panorama City, as the suspect getting ready to go right underneath Sky Cal. So bear with us here as we offset, coming back out onto Roscoe. So it's just kind of been this like big tour of little neighborhoods off of Roscoe in Panorama City that we've been watching for the last 10 minutes or so. Now, all of a sudden, coming to a stop again, and here we go.
All right.
They are out. They're out and running into. This looks like an abandoned lot, or oh no, this is the wash. I think this is the Pacoima Wash right here, or the Tahunga Wash, one of the two. So out and running here.
Are they carrying something, Des?
Yeah, it looks like we got might have a guy and a gal here. She's got a purse, and well, if this was the plan, I mean,
Well,
I
they're
don't know,
slowing
but
down.
they're out here. They may have trouble getting some ground units in here if they want, but no problem with the spotlight. And now all of a sudden, well, they got their arms up like they were surrendering, but we've got some homeless encampments out here as well. So off of Brimfield and Community are the streets, not far from Roscoe Boulevard, kind of the dividing line between North Hills and Northridge here with what I believe is the Pacoima Wash that physically separates them.
And now they're running faster.
Boy, they are.
But didn't it seem like at one point they were surrendering, maybe putting their hands up? And,
Maybe they were just gesturing to the helicopter.
Yeah, right. And Desmond, we don't know if we have any officers close by to get any officers on the ground close to these suspects.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the flight officer is now trying to guide officers into both sides of the next intersection here of the wash, and that should be what we're running into here momentarily. Meanwhile, he's really kind of left his female companion behind at this point. It looks like as she was sticking around, she had that purse on her shoulder, and he is continuing to jog down the wash here.
You know
Not
what?
making an attempt to get into anyone's yard or anything like that, but now we're coming up to a pedestrian bridge, it looks like, here off of Chase and Saloma that goes over the wash. And let's see what they do next.
That was my question. Where could they go? What's
there we go.
Yeah, what's in the immediate vicinity? Are they hiding under that tree?
That the same guy?
No.
One
Believe
second
so.
here.
Yep.
Well, that guy's got a backpack.
Yeah, that's a it looks like, and he has a blue coat on. The other guy seemed like he was wearing all black, and it seems like the female just kind of fell back.
I mean, unless he did some kind of quick change there under the tree. Yeah, I mean, he may have. This jacket might have been on underneath the sweater. I don't know, but well, now.
Yeah, I don't.
LAPD might have been fooled on this.
Yeah, I don't think that was the right guy, Des, because he had that backpack came out of nowhere. The other guy didn't have a backpack. But I did notice in his under the bridge there, under the pedestrian bridge.
There we go.
Yep.
There he is. Yep.
Wow, okay. That's a nice little hiding spot. I did notice he had a shirt in his hand that he was carrying, on the right shirt.
And it looked like something. Well, I knew he was carrying something.
Yeah, and I went back and played back the video from when he was throwing stuff out of the car, and it was clothes they were throwing out of the car. So
but
I don't know.
He is under the bridge?
He's crouched underneath the bridge right there.
Yep.
There he is. I could see the, yeah. Well, I mean, if we could see him.
Yeah.
Then authorities could see you, buddy.
Any idea as to where the woman went? Because she sort of just disappeared.
Well, we can't backtrack, because then we'll lose track of this guy. We'll lose track of the person that.
Well, and that's what LAPD did too. I mean, there he goes back down.
The other way?
Yeah. So LAPD had to only follow one of them. She stayed behind, and he went ahead, and the airship followed him because he's the driver, and that's who they're most interested in. 9 times out of 10, passengers get kicked loose from these chases because if they say, "Oh, I didn't know," and so their LAPD is most interested in the driver.
Or to say, "I told them to stop, and they wouldn't do it."
And at one point, when we thought they were kind of surrendering, I think that was the woman who was kind of stopping and throwing up her hands, and then we see this driver, this guy, just take off, and he's still running.
That's a good shot, Des, too. Yeah, it looks like he's a kind of a younger guy there. Oh, now, see, this is what we don't want, hopping these fences.
Yeah,
because you know what,
you better hope there's no dogs in that yard either.
So this is is also a residential area then, right? Because I was wondering what was on the other side of the wash, but now we can see that there are.
I think he's crouched at
apartment buildings.
Gosh. Yeah, he might have actually ditched something, unless he's, okay. No, I guess he left whatever that is. I mean, they seem to think he's in this yard now, off of Brimfield and Community Street. So just widen out here and see, do we have any kind of LAPD response on this? I mean, it's really surprising that at this point to still not have any units moving in anywhere to either side of the wash or now into this neighborhood to try to corral this person after they were so winded. I mean, they nearly got away with that other person there. They had fooled the airship momentarily, and now they are under darkness again, and looks like maybe some citrus trees or something in this person's yard. They've got an awning, so this is pretty tough. I just not sure how we don't have any. Is he hiding right there? It's
kind of up against the fence a little bit.
Seeing like a little figure there. it's just so
And is
dark out
that a
here.
house or apartment
I
buildings?
think that's
It's a
him.
house.
Yep.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay, he's right there. Yeah,
I see him moving around.
He was really right up against the fence there. There he is. Again, I thought, well, oh man, it's a really tough one here with this darkness, but it looked like the spotlight had him for a second, and then I think they just need to get the spotlight right back on the center of the screen here, and they should be able to see him up against the fence.
And it's interesting, as you say, they have the spotlight on them, but we still don't see anybody.
No, and
on the ground.
I'm listening to it. The airship is really like, come on, guys, trying to direct them in. They want a perimeter to get set up for all of this, and these are the downfalls of.
Yeah, he's running again.
Oh, back on the bike path. Yeah, these are the downfalls of going into tracking mode and not having these units behind them. This guy has been now running around for, I'll go back and time it, but for a good chunk of time now, and we have not seen a single police car yet.
So Desmond, you said you saw him running again. Is that right? Did we have?
I could have sworn I did, but without the assistance of the light here, I could have sworn I saw a figure slip away going northbound right here, and LAPD does not seem to be privy to that.
There he is, right there.
No,
oh, is that a different guy
that's
again?
a resident.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's probably somebody wondering what what the helicopter is doing up above here. You got a couple of people out there. I mean, the helicopter is low and definitely loud in their neighborhood. Now is that okay? No, I thought that was a LAPD cruiser, but it's not. So there are still. This is if LAPD just doesn't care about this or what, I don't know. This is kind of unprecedented to see a suspect out here running around for this long with the helicopter trying to guide units in, and there just doesn't seem to be any sense of urgency to get this person. And they've been running all over the place. They're winded. They've been spotted several times. It's kind of looking like this suspect's going to get away at this point.
Desmond, when this guy jumped over the fence, did it seem like he left that backpack beside the fence?
It did seem like, yeah, I thought I did see a backpack that was sitting there. I don't remember seeing him wearing a backpack, but I did see right where it looked like he wanted to climb the fence, like he left something behind.
Right.
And but then as they took the spotlight off, I saw him running back towards the south here along the wash, and it's just so dark out here now at this point. It's really looking like, oh, who's this? Nope, this is just quite a few people out here walking around, but and that's just a cyclist, it looks like there. So
is that someone with a flashlight, or what is that?
Yeah.
Just somebody out for a bike ride, it looks like, and we had some other pedestrians that were out here that had confused LAPD as well. But the longer this goes on with just the helicopter, with all this darkness, this kind of tree cover, every minute that goes by,
there's your first unit right there, Des, on the corner
of this. Okay, yeah. So finally,
oh,
here,
got another one in front of the street too.
You know, I think they're they're on the wrong side here. I mean, they needed to come up here to the pedestrian bridge and actually come out and walk out on the wash. We do have some flashlights over here. This might be some officers. Let's see here. Yes, indeed it is. Okay, so they're finally out here now at this point, but it might be too late.
You know what, you wonder, and certainly don't want you to take your eye off what you're looking at there, Des, but if they found the woman, if they stopped her or the person that was with him, and maybe she gave up some information, at least we know that the car has been stopped, but whoever that car belongs to is going to have some damage, because we know that it made contact with one or more vehicles. I'm not sure if are we looking at movement here? Right in the middle of the screen?
These look, yeah, I think these are just residents of this house that were out here, wondering why why there was a helicopter kind of, barreling down in their neighborhood so low. Is my guess. So they just wanted to see what all the commotion is about. But they've had the spotlight focused here for a long time, even though I thought I saw a figure moving. It might have been a shadow. The way that the helicopter's movement is, with the spotlight moving against the trees, could kind of play tricks on your eyes. So it's possible that they're in that yard. I thought, I would have bet that I saw them dart away back to the south towards that pedestrian bridge, but it doesn't seem like there are any eyes on this suspect, although they've really been trained on this yard now for a while.
Des, really quick, sorry, I just want to interrupt. They are taking one into custody. I'm working on seeing if I can hear a street where that's happening, but it sounds like they have located at least one. I don't know if that's the female passenger or the driver, but it sounds like officers are making contact with one person at least.
And Mike, do we have any?
Yeah, Mike.
Go ahead. I was about to ask
Chauncey.
Mike about the circumstances from the beginning of this pursuit, because at one point this guy was driving very aggressively.
Yeah, over 100 miles an hour, and we don't know the details of the theft of the vehicle other than it was stolen, and those LAPD officers ran that license plate and figured that out, and then they tried to stop it and it didn't stop. But as for when or how or was force used or anything like that, we don't have that information right now.
So the person that they do have in custody, questioning if, possibly find out where that other person could be.
Yeah, and I would have
anybody in that area.
Yeah, I would have to guess by the way that the light is still fixated where we saw the driver, that the person they have in custody is probably the female
woman.
passenger, which again is not really the person they want. Of course, they're going to sit and talk to her, but the person they're more interested in is the driver because he was the one driving the stolen vehicle.
And is the spotlight in the same area, Desmond? Are they focused on that home there or that particular yard? I mean, possibly they could bring in a canine unit if they wanted to, couldn't they?
Yeah, they definitely could. They have really been focused on these two homes right here, and at first it looked like he wanted to hop the fence, and then he was just kind of up against the fence. Frankly, it was pretty effective the way that he was hiding, almost like Mission Impossible style, up against the wall, and with the trees, the spotlight was just barely missing him, and then they seem to think that he jumped into this yard while I thought that I saw him move to the south before any ground units got here. So it's really kind of anyone's guess at this point. Canines could definitely be an option if they're able to pick up a scent. If they dropped some clothing or something like that, that could definitely aid them in trying to find this person. But it was just such a long response. This person had an amazingly long lead time to get away from the authorities tonight.
Des, really quick, Chase and Saloma is where we hear that the person, the female, okay, yeah, we're hearing right now, the woman is the one that's in custody at apparently Roscoe in the Wash now is where they were able to locate her. I don't know where relatively that is
so
if she made it.
here,
yeah. Well, that makes
that
sense. There's some
right,
of the units.
right back in here. Yeah, so let's see if they have her.
Yep, right against the hood.
Yeah, I think that is. Yep, there we go. So there's the female.
And apparently she's telling officers that she
now.
was the driver.
Oh, really?
I'll have to
really?
play that back and see if
we're
that's
all
the
really
case.
well.
Let me play this back right now.
I'm skeptical of that. Maybe she's trying to be the fall guy or fall gal in this situation, but. Go back and check the tape. It was tough to get a look at the driver.
He was definitely the driver. I just played it back. And so as soon as they parked and got out of the car, he got out of the driver's seat. She got out of the passenger seat.
So she doesn't want to snitch.
Yeah.
But regardless, they have the area. You wonder if he doesn't know someone and he's not inside. Desmond, we didn't see him going in a home, right? We just saw him crouching and trying to get away that way. If he doesn't know anybody, I mean, he's possibly still in this neighborhood in a yard somewhere up against a fence, as opposed to someone saying, hey, yeah, come on in. You know what I mean? Someone hiding him actually inside.
And they may have him under, infrared or something like that. And, as cold, as chilly as it's getting, wintertime in the San Fernando Valley, and especially considering, that the suspect is running and giving off a lot of body heat, maybe they do have them underneath that spotlight with that. We haven't heard that talk yet, but they seem very content to just be right around these couple of houses right here, trying to find the guy that was wearing the white hoodie that, evaded the spotlight several times.
Yeah, and you see the video right there.
Before there was,
Yes, certainly the guy was driving, Mike, and it seems like it was the woman when the police spotlight got over them as they were running through that alley who kind of lifted her hands up maybe. It seems like that was the woman.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the woman that was involved in this. And again, yeah, the male was the driver.
Okay, we're going to keep an eye on this, folks, and get back to you when we have more information or when the suspect is caught. But right now, we're going to move on to other news. Thanks so much, Des.